Thank you, Mr. White. Thank you, everyone. Welcome, everyone, to the November 21st, 2019 regularly scheduled meeting of the school committee. Ms. Rossi, if you would just lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yep. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Just the regular announcements we have to make. This meeting is being recorded by WCTV as a video, and Ms. Ruiz is also making an audio recording as well. Anything else? Oh, thank you. I always forget that one. Anyone wishing to record the meeting can do so. You just have to notify the chair. Is there anyone recording the meeting? Seeing none. All right, public comment. Is anyone here to speak before the committee? All right, seeing none, but actually I had a letter that someone had sent me. It's actually sent to Ms. Becchiacchi and myself asking to read this, and I told him I would. I don't have to, but I'm happy to do it. This is from Mr. Souza, former teacher at the high school, so I'll just read it into the record. Excuse me. Hold on a sec. And he couldn't be here. He'd read this himself. He couldn't be here. He had a commitment. Good evening. My name is John Souza. I am a town resident. I was a teacher, coach, and union representative at Wareham High School from 2012 until the end of 2017-18 school year. I currently teach at Upper Cape Tech, and I am the head women's soccer coach at Mass Maritime Academy. Good evening. To begin, please do not take me not being present as lack of importance or caring. I simply had a commitment tonight and I could not break. When reading the recent article on November 15th titled Wareham School Committee Grade Superintendent, some items came up at the last school committee meeting that I had addressed in the past while still an employee at Wareham High School that I again feel I need to address yet again. To begin, a letter from 2016 came up in the article regarding, quote, culture of fear leadership. Again, I want to go on record stating this was not my experience at the high school. Scott Palladino and Ed Rodericks were always willing to talk, discuss, and give open, honest criticism. At times we did disagree on things. However, the dialogue made a better teacher and coach. Secondly, staff leaving was addressed yet again at the last school committee meeting. I do realize that it was directed more toward events at the business office. Nonetheless, I feel it is still necessary to state I did not leave due to any member of leadership fostering a, quote, culture of fear. Scott Palladino was an effective professional leader who put me under the tutelage of Melvin Lazarus to ensure I succeeded in the classroom. Scott and Ed Rodericks were always supportive of me as a coach. This is part of the reason why I'm now coaching at the collegiate level. Yes, I did leave to teach at Upper Cape. My experience there has been amazing. The opportunities it allows students are amazing. Nonetheless, just because I thoroughly enjoy Upper Cape does not mean my time at Wareham was not enjoyable. In closing, I'm just going on record as saying a, quote, culture of fear was the polar opposite of what I experienced at the Wareham High School, and many reasons for leaving had nothing to do with leadership. And I just thought I'd read that for him and give that to Ms. Ruiz. No.
Can I respond because I feel that was kind of directed towards me?
Sure.
In no way have I ever said that the principals were poor leaders. I commend the principals here tonight.
Okay. So I think I just lost my page. Anyway, I didn't give you my agenda, did I? There it is. Never mind. So, all right. So moving on to good news. Any good news, anyone?
I have good news.
Go for it.
First, I just want to recognize the Key Club at the high school. We all know, or a lot of the great things. I'm sure there are many things they do that we don't know about. And we always like to recognize them, but they were recognized today, I read in the newspaper, by the Cape and Islands, Philanthropy Partners of the Cape and Islands as the year's outstanding youth organization. So congratulations to them. It's really exciting that we have them at the high school, and now we have them at the middle school too, so it's really exciting for us. And congratulations. And also just want to acknowledge that the Student Opportunity Act has made its way through the legislature in Massachusetts, and it's really exciting that that has happened, but it's still yet to be seen what the benefits of it might be here in Wareham, so we'll have to pay attention and wait to see what that is. That's it.
Anyone on that side? No? Ms. Rossi?
I just wanted to remind everyone that the Vikings football team has one more game. Thanksgiving Day, I know a lot of people travel with their families, but I think it would mean a lot to the kids for this tradition that, you know, people come out and support the Vikings at Bourne this year. And I would just love to see more blue than purple. So they've had a great season for a young team, and I think that it's going to be a really great program going forward.
What time is the game?
The game is at 10 a.m. at Bourne.
Okay, I'd like to throw out there for good news, just in general, like looking at social media and such, all the people describing their acceptance letters and how happy they are and the happy parents and everything, and I think that's just great to see. Is there any more good news? All right. With that, the report of the student representative.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
A lot of my good news was taken. Thank you, guys.
Go first.
Oh, my choice.
Speaking of the football game, student council is working hard on pep rally before the football game. So Spirit Week, that's this week and next week. So our spirit is very high this week. It's crazy. We had Decades Day today, and I saw a lot of funny outfits. Like there was like flower pants from the 70s and, you know, like grunge type things from the 90s. It was awesome. Also, there is a can collection for non-perishable food items for 2 weeks to collect for families in need over the holidays. That's almost over. The high school's Key Club will deliver these food items to Turning Point. Also, multiple clubs at the high school are putting together Thanksgiving baskets for Wareham families. The annual Christmas parade is on December 7th with a 3 p.m. kickoff, I believe, starting at the high school and ending at Bessie Park. It's a fun time every year, so it's something to look forward to. I believe that the high school will be involved in that. Like, I think Key Club, we're going to be playing like elves or something, that'll be cute. And last but not least, there are 34 days until Christmas. Thought I'd share that.
Can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
Where can we bring the cans? So if I was going to send them with, I just send it with my high schooler?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Perfect.
You can actually get points because we're doing an advisor competition. So whatever advisory collects the most cans gets a pizza party. So, yeah.
Would have been nice for him to tell me that.
My high school didn't tell me either.
Exactly. Mine either. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
3 for 3.
All set? Thank you. Moving on to the minutes of the meeting, November 5th, 2019. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Now, Ms. Ruiz, that was amended, correct? So, all right, so we're so the amended one is the one that has the correct attendance, that's all. All right. So any further discussion? All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Ms. Spear?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Passes unanimously. Yeah, thank you. All right. Educational Support Person Day, November 20th.
So hello, my name is Nicole Roberge, and I'm here on behalf of the Wareham Education Association, so thank you for letting us come and speak. Basically, what we're asking, we have a proclamation prepared for your signatures. Yesterday, it's actually American Education Week, so we're celebrating American education. And our local association is basically asking for you to acknowledge Educational Support Professionals Day. I said that about 1,000,000 times yesterday. And so I'm just going to read the proclamation, and hopefully you guys will agree to take the time to recognize it every year going forth. So, whereas public schools are the backbone of our democracy, providing young people with the tools they need to maintain our nation's precious values of freedom, civility, and equality, and whereas education support professionals are an integral part of the education process, and whereas education support professionals provide a safe and healthy learning environment for students, and whereas education support professionals work tirelessly to serve our children and communities with care and professionalism, now therefore, we, the members of the Wareham School Committee, serving in Wareham, Massachusetts, do hereby proclaim that Wednesday, November 20th, 2019, was National Education Support Professionals Day. We urge that each year we observe this day by taking time to recognize and acknowledge the importance of educational support professionals in our public schools. Signed this 21st day of November, 2019. Any questions?
Any questions? Oh, that's good, Ms. Spear.
We just, educational support professionals, will you just tell me what
Who
that
they are?
encompasses?
Yes. So yesterday we celebrated bus drivers and monitors, secretaries, cafeteria workers, paraprofessionals, and custodial staff. So we had, with the help of some MTA representation, we had breakfast in each of the schools for those individuals, and we had a separate one for the bus drivers after they finished all their loops in Deaconess, and we gave out, we had posters made for each of the groups in the schools, and just some little thank you cards for each of them. So that was, yeah. So, and there was another question.
Mine wasn't a question, more of I think that this is a great way to recognize all the, some of the behind the scenes work that, a lot of the people don't realize goes into running the school system and educating the kids and all the other people that, have a hand in everything. So I think this is fantastic.
Absolutely. I know that as a classroom teacher, I could not do what I do every day without my two paraprofessionals. So, thanks. What do you guys think?
Hold on.
All set?
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah,
Thank you.
are we going to vote on it, or?
Do you have to vote on that? Or no?
If you sign it, that means you recognize.
Okay, I'll be happy to sign it, so I'll just sign it. I'd be happy to. Okay, moving on. Thank you. Student Advisory Committee. Just state your names for the record.
I'm Jasmine Black, and I'm a senior at the high school.
I'm Grace Berjali, and I'm a junior at the high school.
Thank you.
So one of our projects that we were working on last year, the monitors, we finally did get one up in the cafeteria. It was provided by I believe it's the PCT bank that we have in the high school. So far it's just like advertisements on there, but we're gonna talk to Mr. Murray, who's the English department, to help us he does the morning announcements, so we're going to ask him to put the announcements also on the monitors so they play during lunch for all the students to see.
Tomorrow, Mr. Palladino will be shadowing a student to see the student's perspective in their everyday class schedule.
He also is participating in Spirit Week, so we're excited to see his outfit for tomorrow.
Taurus, right?
Taurus Day. So I'm not sure if you guys heard, but we are painting the bathrooms. I think a lot of students are coming together to do that. It's in full effect. It's happening very soon. We're going to start with the bathrooms that are near the main foyer. And then we're going to move to the bathrooms that are near the cafeteria. And then we have one bathroom that's upstairs that's a gender-neutral bathroom.
Right now, we aren't like running any current projects, but we're going to be sending out a survey for the students to fill out in a Google Forms for any ideas or inputs on a new like idea for the school.
And also we're collaborating with NEASC to create a survey, a separate survey from what we're going to be looking at, to help get another student perspective on the school and how they're feeling overall about everything, to just get feedback on any changes that we can make as a whole.
We'll also be working with school committee to adjust the
Scheduling.
committee to make adjustments to the schedules, academic schedules.
And then also, I think last week we had a honors breakfast to recognize students that got either honor roll or high honor roll. And we're also working on coming up with an idea for students that get perfect attendance each term. Any questions?
Any questions?
I have some questions.
Ms. Bakayaki?
So you brought up the bank that's in the school. I'm just curious, how many students use that bank, do you think? Do a lot of students have accounts there?
I know it's open 2 days a week. I know a lot of students use it to mostly get change back and forth. I haven't used it before, but I think there's a decent amount of students that know about it.
Do students work at the bank there, or is it just?
No.
No. Okay. And last year, one of your big projects was bringing back the late bus. So how is that going? Do you think it's having a good
I know
effect?
it's only once a week on Thursdays, but I'm pretty sure it's being used to full effect. I work at the Boys and Girls Club, so a lot of my kids do come in later, and they do like to stay after school, which I think gives them a better opportunity, especially in middle school, because they're getting involved now, and hopefully by the time they reach the high school, they'll realize that they can stay after school and know that they have a way home.
And just one more question, painting the bathrooms. So are you doing something special in the bathrooms?
I think each student is assigned to like a certain stall, and then they're going to do their own design on it, just to, I guess, create more life in there. And it's kind of,
Well, I know there were different ideas. Yeah, so that's great. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Ms. Spear?
Joyce stole my bathroom question, but for the academic schedules, what's behind that? Like, what are you thinking? What caused you guys to take a look at that?
I think students feel like our class periods are really long because they are 83 minutes. And also the short block in between the advisory period is only 20 minutes. And that's supposed to be like a time period for students who can't stay after school to do homework or get help or make up any type of work. So probably cutting down on the 4 classes a day and adding those minutes to the advisory schedule.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Ms. Rossi.
So you said that the monitor now in the cafeteria is running advertisements. So is this local business advertisements that they pay? Is this like a donation that they sponsor to have these played in the cafeteria now?
It's mostly just the bank's advertisements right now is what I've noticed. But I haven't really seen any like local businesses yet.
And so do you think that having the morning announcements playing on the monitor will help, say our children, the 3 of us that didn't know that the canned good drive was happening? Do you think that seeing that more often is going to help? Do you feel that a lot of kids don't listen to the morning announcements?
I'll be honest, yes, because it is in the morning and most of us are really tired, and it is a really big screen, so it's really noticeable it's something to catch your eye to see like, oh, there's a game happening Friday or the can drive's happening, something like that.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, I remember when you floated this idea not too long ago, and I was like, this is a great idea. I'm glad it's happening. Anyone else? All right. Yeah, that it? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're on to the FY21 budget overview. I think you're good. There it is.
All right, so next year, currently the enrollment is at the high school, 613, at the middle school, 523, at the mine at Forest, 323, and at John Deacon, 630. So we will be working off those numbers. We do anticipate a little bit of shifting, and those will be shared. Right now, the staff overview, as you can see, we have 184 teachers, 67 paraprofessionals, 10 guidance, 11 social workers and psychologists, 21 custodians. Clerical is 36.26, special ed and related services. Oh man. Let's see. I'm not sure. I think around, oh, there we go. 8.75, bus drivers 31, monitors 12, nurses 4, and administration's 18. So that's our current staff makeup. So when the principals and directors were asked to put together a budget presentation and proposal for the FY21 school year, we also asked what staff they would need. At the high school, Mr. Palladino has asked for 1 science teacher and 1 special education teacher. Mrs. Cote has asked for 1 special education teacher, a BCBA, a paraprofessional, and a foreign language teacher. At Minot, Mrs. Siemens has asked for a 3rd grade teacher, a special ed teacher, and a paraprofessional. And at Deacus, there was no request from Mrs. Chandler. Special ed, a .4 preschool administrator, a .5 speech, and 2 ABAs. At the district, 2 text specialists, 1 would be for Minot, 1 would be for Deacus, and then due to the nurse's presentation, 1 nurse that would float district-wide. When we looked at the total for salaries of the current staff, we're at $24,090,749. This does not include any of the requested staff. So that's what we're basing the foundation of the budget, the building of the budget on. When you look at the percentage, we broke down the various salaries, and you'll receive this at the next meeting, but that gives you the breakdown. The green or the blue are the teachers, and then the other colors represent assistant principals, paras, secretaries, custodians, drivers, bus drivers, and individual contracts. When you look at the various staff, the salary breakdowns, once again. Right now, we anticipate running the cost, the utilities for next year, we're anticipating $845,000, with contracted services, $973,000, tuition and payments, and that is out of district, collaborative, private, and also Bristol Aggie. So we're looking at a total draft, and I do caution and say, highlight the word draft budget of $32,561,152. We also know that that's not realistic, and so we will be working in the next several weeks to reduce that number before we present at the open session. So, once again, our next steps are to review the various budget lines. We will be having conversations with the principals and directors. We'll be looking at all our options, and of course, our priority remains the students. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Ms. Rossi?
So on the report that was,
That's
this-
yeah, way separate.
that's
Yeah.
way separate.
Yeah, it's way
Okay.
separate.
That's fine.
That's this year. This is next year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for my confusion
That's
then. I
okay.
have no question at this time.
Okay. Ms. Morgan?
So I apologize, I wasn't able to attend the workshop, and this question might have already been asked. So what's the reasoning for a .4 preschool administrator?
Is it on? Okay. So currently, we are up to about 85 students in the preschool, and even with support from the team chair at the preschool, we are not able to keep up with the amount of paperwork. And what's happening now is we're about to go into our self-assessment year for our coordinated program review, which is called something different now. We just had our training today as a tiered support. They're going to be examining those indicators from preschool, and we are not able to keep up with preschool right now because of the amount of students coming in. And the students that we're getting right now are very high need students, and we're basically running out of room. So we need to make sure that we have the support there to be able to meet timelines and be able to stay within regulations to be able to get everything through.
So you currently have a department head,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't believe she teaches any classes.
Nope, she does not.
right? So is she still going to be
The department chair.
the department chair?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But she does
I don't
not hold an administrative license, and we need that for that particular, to run a preschool. We need somebody with an administrative license overseeing.
Well, you oversee it. But I
Not
mean,
on
just
site, but yes.
Because, I mean, I had that job myself, and we had that amount of students.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if, I don't, to be honest, see it as being necessary, but
Well, we went from a full-time preschool director to no preschool director, so it's an absolute need.
basically, though, the person you have there now is doing the work that I did.
She's not chairing meetings. Those are being chaired by the team chair.
All right,
So it's
but
not the same. I don't think it's the same.
Was, though.
Yeah, but she's not, doesn't have the time to be able to do that because of the amount of referrals coming in from EI and from physicians and from different areas.
Okay, I'm just surprised because
Mhm.
I team chair, I used to chair them, I used to do the home visits, and it's really the number of students hasn't really changed that much. So I just question it, that's all.
Ms. Rossi?
Can you explain, sorry that I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just, if you can explain what the .4 and the .5 mean in
Yep.
an
So pretty much a
understandable term.
1.0 would be a full-time position, and a .5 would be a half-time, which would be 2.5 days. So .4 is 2 days, .6 would be 3, .8 would be 4. So that's basically the way it works. So it would be 2 days a week, somebody to come in and kind of help out, manage things, make sure that we're in compliance, and be able to support the other team members.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Anyone else? No? So you've got the next steps up there. What's the chronology from this point?
We'll continue to meet with the principals, directors, we'll meet with the budget subcommittee. We will start to hone in on the various lines and bring it into a budget that we will be presenting.
But the next meeting will be, I think, with December 12th. Is that the one with
Open hearing?
the open hearing with the selectmen and the finance committee?
Correct.
And then the vote, the school committee vote, official vote is scheduled, I think, for December 19th.
Mhm.
And when does it have, and this is all driven by the charter, so when is that due to the town administrator?
It's due to him prior to adjourning for the holiday vacation.
Okay. So it's, we have to give them something, that's what's driving all that.
And just as a reminder, you can always go down, but once you vote the number, you cannot go up with the number.
Really? Before town meeting, we can't,
You can't raise it.
we can't, really? Is that new news?
No.
I never heard of that one. Oh,
Well, we'll check it out. I could be wrong.
yeah, I just thought the school committee submits something to town meeting and, well, anyway, there's that. And just to stress to the press or anyone watching that Dr. Shiva Hood, when she said that, that number is not a realistic number, that's just, it's still pretty early in the process, all things considered, and that's we've still got a lot of work to do. Anyone else?
So all I would say is, it's similar to what you were saying. I know you stressed the word draft, And I know that, in meeting with the Budget Advisory Committee, that has been stressed. But it's also been stressed that we need to give the teachers and give everyone, what they need. So that's what we'll be working towards.
Ms. Rossi?
Just one more question. I know that you had mentioned earlier about the Education Opportunity Act, that if that is in fact signed in by the governor, will that funding have any effect on this projected budget?
Not that we're anticipating that would make a significant difference.
Thank you.
Which is really, really unfortunate.
It really is.
It's like, come on, All right, so if there's nothing else, I'll move on. Okay, acceptance of gift.
I would ask the committee to accept the dictionaries for all grade 3 students at the Minot Forest School from the Wareham Lodge of Elks.
Do I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second?
Second it.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Did you? So passes unanimously, 500. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Vote on new policy, bus transportation. I think that's you.
That's me?
I think so. New
I must
policy,
have been
right?
asleep. Didn't we already do that last week?
No, it was introduced last week.
Oh, and we didn't vote on it?
It was the inclement weather, but we didn't discuss it introduced, and we just have to vote.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We've already talked about
Yeah.
it. You have to vote on it.
Okay. Well,
Mhm.
all right.
Introduce it, you wait.
Yeah. It's a good policy.
Yeah.
So that policy, not necessarily this one, but anyway. So anyone want to discuss this one?
I just have a question. So is it true that the new part of this policy is that when the roads, sidewalks, or walkways are impassable, that a bus stop will be provided for those who wouldn't otherwise have ridden the bus?
Is that the inclement weather one?
Can't hear you.
No, in this one, it says.
That's deleted.
Oh, okay. Sorry. That's the one I printed today. Okay, then never mind, I don't have a question.
Never mind. Okay. All right. Any further discussion on this? All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Passes.
I missed because I was listening. Who motioned, who seconded?
Nobody.
I didn't hear a motion or a second to approve.
Oh, yeah, I don't
I
think there
did?
was one.
All right. So I need a motion to approve. Sorry.
So moved.
A second.
Second.
All right. I thought I said any further discussion, but any further discussion? Seeing none. All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Passes 500. You're welcome. On to the monthly financial statement.
All right, so last week, I believe you were provided with the monthly statement. What I would say is there's still some lines that have been charged that there was no money. It will be moved and applied to the right account. The auditor just finished with the town audit and the school audit, so there will be time now that some movement will start being adjusted. As well, payroll has not been applied, so once that happens, some of the lines will go down to reflect the payroll that was applied against it. So if you have any questions.
So I did have some questions on this, but just you brought something up. Just to be clear, you said due to the town audit, that's for the last fiscal year, right? But that'll affect this?
No, it won't affect this, but what it has affected was the town accountant's time.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. All right. So with that, I'll take Ms. Rossi.
So I highlighted quite a few items. I know that you said that things will be moving around, so I'm just trying to understand. When something is allocated, that means that we had previously budgeted for that particular line item, okay? And then expended meant that's what we spent regardless of if it was budgeted or not. So most of my questions are regarding zero allocations and sums of money. So I'm just trying to understand, I'm going to ask a lot of questions of why these weren't budgeted ahead of time and then what the actual cost covered, if that makes sense, for the
Right.
expended. So on page 2, technology secretary salaries, we were allocated 0, but we spent $1,247.94. What is a technology secretary?
Well, we don't have a technology secretary.
Then how did we
longer,
spend $1,200 on a salary for a position we don't have?
Because it was charged to the wrong line.
Okay, so charged to wrong line.
So are there a bunch of those?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to clarify whichever things were
what she
charged the
said,
wrong
literally.
line, so it might be redundant, but under DECAS FDK substitute teacher, first clarification, what does FDK stand for?
Kindergarten.
Okay, full day kindergarten, all right, thank you. And again, and then full day kindergarten substitute para, again, allocated 0 and then expended. Were those, you weren't anticipating needing subs for those, and that's why there was a line item, or is again, that was charged to the wrong line?
Charged to the wrong line.
Okay, so, on page 4, DECAS regular substitute paraprofessional salaries, again, allocated 0, charged $741.56. Was that also the wrong line?
Correct.
Okay.
Hold on a second. Is something up? What's
Yeah,
up?
I just wanted to make something clear. So these lines were set up last fiscal year. Do you understand that?
Yes.
So the budget was supposed to go a certain way. The lines were placed where they were supposed to be placed in theory, where they've been placed in the past. And when we were using them as we would normally use them, they were not placed in the right spot. So we had to find where that money had been placed. That's why it looks like it does right now, and that's why it is so complicated at the moment. So we are trying to correct a lot of mistakes that were made. And so I just want to clarify that it was not the job that was supposed to be done was done incorrectly.
So,
Okay, and that's why we are in this position that we are right now, which we are correcting.
so I understand that
Okay,
again.
I just wanna be clear.
I'm just going for specification because if these are things that were account names or line items that were from previous things that had been budgeted, they still say that there was 0 for their budget, for the start point.
So the
Okay.
person who was responsible for putting that money into that line didn't.
So anything that had a 0 allocated, if there's something that's been charged against it, it was charged incorrectly.
So every single
Every s-
line that was
that's
0,
correct.
like one of them on page 7 for student services director, sped supervisor salaries of $44,062.50 was charged wrong. So every single thing that was a 0, even up to, pretty
Yes.
significant.
Yep, exactly.
Amounts
You can
were
only
all
imagine
charged
what it feels
incorrectly.
like in our office every day.
So let me just cut kind of to the chase. So I understand.
Okay, thank you.
That part, sort of. I understand the genesis of that, right?
Well, it's not just that, but there were other people who were also in positions that were supposed to do the right
I get you.
right things, and they didn't.
I get you.
Okay, thank
I
you.
get you.
I just want to make that clear.
No, I get
All right.
that. So there was a huge reconciliation that went on over the summer, and in September I think we revoted that budget, and that was like the new starting point as far as I was concerned. We made wholesale transfers at that time, but now but even since then now it's still that far off.
No, it's not that far off. But when payroll went through, payroll was using the wrong account lines. And so when we run payroll and then we run a budget report to see where things are being charged out of, it was caught. And so we went to payroll and we looked at the lines they were using, as an example, the student service account, and said, what line are you using? It was the incorrect line, so we made the move to the correct line.
So again, so we're going to meet, I think, December 12th. That's a public hearing. So when will, I guess the earliest time we're gonna be able to make real transfers to get this right would be December 19th. Will you be ready then?
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so too.
I will have to see if the town accountant will be ready to make the journal entries.
Okay. All right, so, okay, I'm sorry, keep going.
Sorry,
You still have the floor.
Yeah, so salaried items aside, if they were all charged incorrectly for salaries, but there's also building maintenance, equipment repair. And I do understand, I'm just trying to understand and clarify, this is just a lot of money, and it's, I understand that it's complicated, that's why I'm asking questions.
And yes, as if it has a zero, it was charged to the wrong line. One of the things that we have found when we went into Vadar and started looking at why were we having these errors, there were accounts that were linked. And so if you had a maintenance account, let's just say randomly, these are just random, looking for an example, would be if, let's just say, Deacon's had 2 maintenance accounts. And one might have had $100. The other one could have had $10,000. And if it was linked together, the one that had $100, you could keep hitting it. Because if the $100 was gone, but it would come down and it would take the other one. So it's kind of like your bank account. If you have a savings account and a checking account, if they're linked and you overspend your checking, your savings might cover you. That's what we found in the Vadar when we started looking internally at why this was happening in some of the lines. So what we had to do is we had to contact Vadar. We had them to break all the chains, and now we're back. So if somebody goes to enter the wrong line and there's no money, there's a warning that comes up. The warning says you don't have enough funds. Nobody is supposed to override that warning. If for some reason it gets overridden, and then when I approve the PO, it comes up for me as well. And I do not override any POs, and it gets kicked back and find money someplace else or make a budget transfer. So I haven't looked specifically to see if there's something that you were going to ask about, but I just wanted to explain that as well for you.
And I appreciate that. I was just, when I was looking through this, obviously knowing that we've had issues, and when you see something is not budgeted when it was said to have been budgeted before, I'm just asking clarifying questions about the document and the line item. So I do understand that we're in sort of a kind of precarious situation with the budget, but there's just, I understand, whereas you said that the salaries may have all been, and a lot of these are salary items. So have you in this monitoring that you're doing and trying to rectify this, have we figured out where these have been, like where the money has been put and it's just being moved back over?
We know where they should have been charged from. And so that's nothing will be moved into the lines with zeros. If there were charges made, there needs to be a journal entry that will take the negative amount and move it to where it was really supposed to be.
Okay, thank you.
I have a really curious one here on page 33. 33 is less than 40, right?
I thought you said 40.
No, 33.
Okay.
Just the top one there, employee separation costs professional. That one started out negative. I think it's the only one. Like, how'd that happen?
Yeah, that's the one that we're having to look into because we never budgeted anything for that.
Like negative $60,000. All right. So, okay, it's a mystery to you too. Anyone else?
So I don't have a question. I've asked a lot of questions along the way. But I just want to point out, the last meeting, I made a comment about a line item budget versus a budget that showed major accounts. And I just want to point out that I was not implying that we as a school committee should not be seeing the line item budget. Of course we should. I was just thinking that that type of presentation, major accounts, would be helpful in addition. And I know that it's being worked on, and I know, we've talked about this, and it's a process. But I just want to point out that I was never implying that we shouldn't be looking at the line item budget. I know that we've talked about this. Just for comparison, so that all salaries would be totaled, and the differences between these lines that are being seen, it would be a good comparison to see it in that format as well.
So the thing is, though, between here and the next time we meet to really vote on things will be December 19th, and that's when we're going to vote on the budget. And yeah, we need to see both. We need to see the major items, which is a good little summary, but we definitely need to see the line items at that time, because that tells you every number that's behind those numbers.
Right. No, I don't disagree. I'm just pointing out that when I said that last time, I wasn't implying that we shouldn't be seeing the line item.
I don't even remember you saying that. So.
Oh, well.
Anyway, but you clarified anyway. Well, you did in the budget, but you did at the last meeting?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
I think so.
right.
But again, like you said, we've talked about this in the budget advisory meeting. I understand that it's a process and that it will happen.
Did you have anything, Ms.
Just
Morgan?
a clarifying question. I understand, it's, like I said to Mike, I just had a hard time making heads or tails out of it.
Oh, yeah, the last one.
But one of the questions I have, and again, it's maybe my own ignorance, but, so just for example, like the DECUS substitute custodians, and where it's zeroed, so, and then we spent those 761, right? Is that right?
What page?
I don't know. I don't have page numbers on mine. No, it didn't come out with page numbers.
Oh, I see. It's on page 7.
Thank you. So does that mean that that was spent on DECUS substitute custodians?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So why is it then that we wouldn't say that we overspent that line? Like, where it says this percentage, why is it saying there's 0% was spent?
I have no idea.
Okay. I'm confused, that's all. Bless you. And how the, I don't know where, it's probably not on here, the revolving accounts?
No, they're not on there.
And what state are those in?
They are, I think the last time I saw some revolving, it was in September, mid-October. So we've had one bookkeeper who has been out, and when she returns, that's part of her job responsibility, so we will have that.
Okay, all right. Yep, thank you.
Okay. Anything else for the budget? I mean, the financial statement, I should say. You're all set? Okay. I'm going to move on. Okay, so we're on to the vote on the composite superintendent evaluation, and I apologize to the committee and to the superintendent, but this was something that we should have done last week, and I happened to notice it in her contract that it says that there will be a vote by the school committee on the composite evaluation, and we didn't do that. And in past years, we kind of do it in a de facto way because there's a discussion about a raise and such, but that just didn't happen this time. So, and I've passed it out to, Mary, you showed up like after. Oh, good.
Thank you.
So I passed this out after the executive session. So anyway, so I'm just looking for a vote on. I think the reason it's in there is to basically be like, so the whole committee looks at the numbers and be like, Mike didn't, fudge them, or Mike didn't, misrepresent quotes or something, But I just need a vote on this just to be compliant with the contract. So do I have a vote to approve the composite evaluation?
So moved.
Is there a second? So did you get that, Michelle? Yeah. All right. All those in favor?
Could I just?
Sure.
So I just want to be clear that what we're voting on is just your summary of what we
Yeah, I'm just
are evaluating.
just the compilation really of the numbers you gave me. You know, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And with that, we have a motion and a second. Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Is that 500? 500.
Mr. Chair, I also understand that I have a right to attach a rebuttal,
You do.
and so I'm putting in for a placeholder, because when it is prepared, then I will be submitting it.
Okay. Absolutely. So, with that.
Mike, I think we skipped over acceptance of a gift.
No, we did it.
Oh, we did it?
Yeah,
Yeah, those
it was the
yeah.
dictionaries.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Yep.
Napping.
Sleeping.
And then we're on to report of superintendent.
All right, in there, the only addition would be the payroll week ending in November 16th with the addition of $97. So I would ask you to please approve the payroll bill warrants listed.
Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Passes 500.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Report of the school committee. Mass delegate, would you have anything to to report?
Well, at the MASC conference, there were several resolutions. Don't think I have them with me, on things that were presented at the delegation. So there were members of school committees represented from across the state, and there were several resolutions that were approved and some not approved going forward. If it's okay with the committee, I should have the full report on that next week, or next meeting.
Sure, just kind of curious about your experience, that's all.
It was honestly my favorite part of the conference. It was a 4-day conference. It was a joint conference, so there were superintendents and school committee members from across the state. I got to meet a lot of really amazing people, hear a lot of breakout panel sessions. Most of us were actually in attendance. Mike was there several days, as well as myself. Lori and Joyce were both also in attendance on some of the days. And from what I got out of it as a new school committee member was just a really, almost like a renewed sense of purpose with what we're able to do, what we're able to not do, and just some really great initiatives and ideas and things to bring back to our district that can, be implemented over time or suggested. There was a lot of really wonderful speakers that spoke on topics ranging from, budget transparency to diversity and the actual meaning of the word diverse, which I thought was a really fascinating speech. And a lot of those presentations are they're putting forth available to any school committee member. So if anyone has any interest in seeing any of those documents, I can absolutely get those as well. But being a delegate was, it was like being in a congressional hearing. So there was, people got to come up and speak to each resolution, the pros and the cons, and there was a lot of educated debate on both sides of the fence. And then there were votes taken. Some were, very unanimous. A lot of school committees felt that they were, these resolutions were definitely beneficial across the board. And then you could really see kind of demographically where some lines were drawn with some of them as well, where some people voted, so close to either passing or not passing that they had, people having to individually count each voting member. So it was definitely an interesting experience, and I really liked being the delegate for Wareham.
I think the job's hers. So thank you. Anything else for reports of school committee? All right, seeing none. Any other business? None? Okay. So with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Pass 500. Thank you. Adjourned.